He's looking to paint the town red, and he's wanting to use your body parts as his palette. Here's your look at the brand new NECA Toys, Damian Leon's Terrifier Ultimate Art the Clown. The enigmatic Art the Clown is here to stock your shelves. The iconic villain from Damian Leon's Terrifier is getting NECA's ultimate treatment, capturing every eerie detail of the silent slasher. This 7-inch scale articulate action figure includes interchangeable expressions and hands, plus an unsettling arsenal of weapons and accessories. Comes in a collector's-friendly window box packaging with opening front flap, perfect for horror display. Well, the good is I found Art the Clown. The bad, though, is I found him on eBay. And even more the bad is I paid the price that I did. That I wished, like Don Emerson, somebody could at least gone halvesies with me. Still, though, let's take the tape measure. We'll see how tall Art the Clown stands, and then we'll kind of go through all the disgusting details that the figure has, especially for all of his accessories. If I'm clocking this guy in at the correct height, and I like to hope that I am, he's going to stand at about 7¼ inches in height, working out to be a figure that's about 19 centimeters tall. We've had quite the healthy helping of horror as of late here on this channel, having just recently succeeded in looking at the Halloween H2O Michael Myers, and then we followed up things with the no leftovers version of John Carver. When it comes to comparing the figures, it does seem though that Art the Clown is a little bit shorter. He seems also a little bit short when it comes to the figure's posability. You don't mind if I just interrupt myself for a second? Oh, please do. One thing I will say, though, from the bad end of things is the way they've actually packaged Art the Clown. As a little critique on the side, and you may have even noticed me struggling with this at the beginning of this video, generally when it comes to ultimate figures from NECA Toys, what they usually tend to do is you have a figure right in the middle, and then you usually have your accessories on one side. Then you have to jump across the river, and then on the other side, of course, you have all the other accessories. But with both of those cases, you tend to have separate standalone strips of plastic. With Art the Clown, the entire tray, the entire top lid of the tray, comes off in one piece. So unfortunately, though, if you're trying to get into the accessories, and there's a lot of them, you're going to have to worry, though, that while you're trying to grab all the things on this side, these have full visibility and air to breathe, and you could lose some of these in the process. I really wish, though, that they could have chosen to have separate strips of plastic occupying these areas separately, so that if you grab the accessories on this side, you wouldn't run the risk of losing something on the other. Let's move that off to the side. Okay, so Art the Clown, mentioned already, does have quite the cavalcade of accessories. What's rather ironic, though, none of the accessories, though, that he has are covered in blood. What's the deal with that? Now, to be fair, though, there is, though, a Walmart bloody version of Art the Clown that, yes, we will be also looking at another upcoming review. But yeah, we will be looking at that one. That does the job, I'm sure, of covering off everything in a crimson. Actually, generally, the tools of the trade and the weapons that he wields are generally quite clean this time around. Of the accessories, though, the figure comes included with, and I guess we'll start things first with the smallest. You'll excuse me if I maybe rhyme off some of these incorrectly. I would guess this to be probably an ice pick. The figure does have that. He does also have a tiny, tiny little blade. And what tiny cuts is he going to do with the tiny little blade? Oh, leaving it in his mind, I'm sure probably just bad ideas all around. The figure does also come included with a tiny little scalpel. We're talking bad ideas. What a bad idea to have such a small accessory. I'm surprised, actually, that I didn't end up losing it. The figure does also come included with a tiny little axe. Not that I feel the need to add tiny with the front of every one of them. I don't think this is necessarily blood. I think that's rust. So maybe getting yourself a tetanus shot. Maybe tetanus shots are the least of your worries if you're dealing with Art the Clown. But that does seem like there's rust on the end of that blade. Maybe I should not be coming too close to that blade myself. Ooh. Let's put that off to the side. The figure does also have, what is that, a cat of 9 tails? Although it's not 9 tails, and it's certainly not a cat. Meow! What it does have, though, instead, it's a whip. And each of the whip on the ends of the strands do have an individual blade. The blades come to us courtesy, though, of tiny little scissors on either side. And then in the middle, it seems to be like a scalpel. I think that's also maybe a scalpel as well. I mean, just to have that inflicted upon you with all these weapons on the ends of them, that would be a painful whip. Maybe not 9 tails, it certainly is 4 tails, and all those tails are a terror. Let's move that aside. I'm careful, though, while I'm kind of going through everything. I keep everything kind of self-contained here. I've got my little pile. My pile is right here, and as I kind of go through everything, I'm moving everything off to the side in a small area like this. I'm shaking more so just for the fact I'm worried that I'm going to be losing any of these things. Oh, and also, by the way, there's the scalpel. Speaking of things I almost just lost. Moving more to the larger category of accessories, the figure does also come included with a larger, I guess, a hatchet, an axe. It does look like it's got a chip in that. Not that that's going to make your day any bit better or worse. Again, all clean accessories. Figure does also have a hammer. If I was a hammer, would you be my lady? Was that a Johnny Cash song? I think it was also done at one point by Leonard Nimoy. Now, Leonard Nimoy knows how to rock a cover. He was also on the album Spaced Out with William Shatner. Speaking of guys who knows how to make a cover, William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, why are we even talking about those two? But he does come include with a hammer. Put that off to the side. What else does he have? He has a baby, and he has a larger version cleaver. Oh, isn't that cute? This reminds me of Itchy and Scratchy Land, where again, like you know, there's that little parade. One cleaver's walking ahead, and I think it's the other cleaver that falls over. It's a little baby cleaver. It's trying to catch up to his mom. These, again, look like maybe they're a little aged. They don't have a whole lot of rust to them. They certainly don't have a whole lot of blood. Stay tuned, though. The bloodied, slaughtered version. I mean, it's not even a slaughter version. It's the bloodied Walmart exclusive of Terrifier. Art the Clown. He's going to have quite a lot more blood. But again, these are generally clean. I mean, he only really has 2 hands. Thank goodness. Just pray for the fact that this guy doesn't even have any more hands than he does. With only 2 hands, he only has, again, 2 options to hold accessories. So you might end up finding your way just to kind of, like, what do I pick? What do I put in this guy's hands? Everything else will have to go back to the tray, the very difficult tray. He does also come included with a hacksaw. Terrible, terrible. Again, pretty clean on application of paint. Sure, yes, we get the rust. Sure, yes, we get a little bit of silver. But there's no bit of red anywhere on this. Is that cranberry sauce? That's a different movie, you stupid idiot. He does also come included with a couple of knives. I don't really know. Would that be that's not really so much a butcher knife. That would be almost even the size of maybe like a machete. Although it's got a handle of a knife. It's got the blade of a machete. A knife-shetty? We're just making up words now. I like the way they've actually brushed on, though, the silver. So you got like darker plastic coloring, and you got the little highlights, though, of silver. That's attention to detail. Speaking of attention to detail, look at the way they've riveted the handle. Rivet. Then he also comes included with a butcher knife. The butcher knife, by really comparing with all the other accessories, seems almost more the tamer and boring of the accessories. How many times have I said accessories? Let's just move that off to the side. I'm sure, though, you probably are concerned that the figure does have means to hold all of those things. He does have some swappable hands. Before we get that, though, a pistol. Doesn't seem as creative, though, when he has himself a pistol, but he has himself a gun. And lastly, he also has himself a drill. Just recently, I actually watched the 70s. I wouldn't even say classic. It's video nasty. A driller killer. That guy knew how to wield a drill. I mean, like Art the Clown could probably give this guy a running for best use of drill. The drill doesn't actually have anything attached to. What I think, though, is nice is that they actually painted the prongs on the end of the cord. Didn't have to do that. NECA, that is. Didn't have to do that, but they did. So at least if you had yourself an outlet, you could plug that. Or you just have that belt generator the driller killer had. You just basically plug it into that. You just can carry around whatever tools you want to start drilling people with. Excessive. Such excessive nonsense. Let's just put that off to the side. What else do we want to look at? The figure does have some swappable hands. Now, I've taken some liberties of actually swapping out one of the hands. That was actually to hold the garbage bag, which actually, that does remind me. The garbage bag's just... What? There's a garbage bag? It's right over there. It does have some swappable hands. On the end of the hand already, on this side, he's got a relaxed hand. If you want to kind of do the same on the other, he does have a relaxed hand for that as well. Fingerless gloves. Everybody was wearing fingerless gloves. Mind you, the gloves don't stay clean, though, in the Terrifier films. Does also come included with a gripping hand. Comes actually included with a couple of interesting-looking hands. One's certainly suitable for holding things like the drill. So, when I take yourself the drill, just slide down the cord. You want to make sure, of course, the cord doesn't get in the way of things. And just slide down the drill into his hand. So, just don't bend the drill bit, whatever you do. Good hand for that. Then he also comes included with this hand also as well. I guess you could probably use this for the garbage bag. What do you keep talking about a garbage bag? It's just over there. Again, a couple of smaller gripped hands. Good for holding any of the smaller accessories, like the knife, for example. Like for the knife-shetty. That's not a real term. Knife-shetty. Come on, man. Can't just be making up words just because you're the guy that's making the video. Can't just be coming up with these obnoxious nonsense words. Nonsense. The garbage bag by question, though, and he also comes included with this hand as well. Everything is A-okay. Everything is not A-okay. No, it's not, Art the Clown. We're far from the category of everything is A-okay. That garbage bag, by the way, happens to be this one right here. The figure does also have one. It was, to be fair, tied up in a knot. I've already unknotted the knot because at the bottom of the bag, there was like this little cardboard piece. If I just kind of feel around to give you guys what the shape profile looks like, What exactly is that? Is that a portrait? Is it a picture of Nun Valak? No, it's not. What's rather kind of boring, though, is if you actually open up the bag, what's just inside is an oval piece of cardboard. That's it. I guess if you wanted to, it makes the bag, it gives a bottom to the bag, and then Art the Clown could essentially store all of those accessories. The knife, the whip, the cat of four nine tails. I don't know what we're talking about. But essentially, you could put all the accessories into the bag, just tie it up into a pretty little knot, and then you can dangle that over his shoulder. The one thing, though, unfortunately, about the figure is that he doesn't have a double hinge in his elbow. So I tell you right away, unlike the Michael Myers, unlike John Carver, he doesn't have a double jointed elbow, which is kind of, again, interesting that they chose not to put a double hinge on Art the Clown's elbows. It does also come include a little baby doll. A little doll. So cute. So clean. This doll has not seen things yet. The doll, I'm sure, will be seeing things and will be covered in blood. I'm not sure, though, if the blood version, the Walmart exclusive Art the Clown, is going to come include with all those accessories. The only way, of course, we'll know for sure, we'll eventually get to that figure when he eventually ships in. Whoosh, whoosh. Move that to the side. Finally, Art the Clown comes included with some swappable head portraits. What a better use of the cowl piece. In the movie, though, Art the Clown does, of course, come included with a cowl. Now, the cowl goes over top, essentially over his face, and then that's the thing that kind of holds his hat in place. They chose smartly, instead of having swappable heads, to save a little bit of the budget, save a little bit of this. And instead, what Art the Clown does have is swappable faces. Now, before we swap out any faces, let's actually look at I think this is the defaulted face that he came with out of the packaging. I've kind of been, of course, playing around with this guy for the last little while. Just a gross-looking face. Visiting a dentist would be last on this guy's list. Does, of course, have the little dot there on the end of his nose. All the faces obviously have that as well. I think it's a really well-painted head. The only one critique I would say, though, and, maybe I'd have to, again, I would say really then twist my arm. Not my rubber arm. Twist my arm to go and see the Terrifier films again. But I feel like the head is a little too bulbous. A little too round on the back. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. It does look like it's a little too deep of a sculpt. But the front of it certainly does look good. Of the options available when it comes to Art the Clown, he does have a regular expression, just a generally ticked off. If you're taking selfies with a guy who has this face, just walk away quickly. Run away really rather fastly. To swap out the faces, though, is just a case of yanking off Art's face. And then basically what it is there's these two holes on the inside, and each of the respected faces do have pegs. And then they just basically plug into those. So again, you can go with the neutral expression. Generally just ticked off Art the Clown. He's telling you right now. I mean, he's telling you without saying anything, because Art the Clown doesn't necessarily need to say anything. He's telling you, just leave where you are right now. Don't sit down next to him. Don't tease him. Don't take selfies. That's only just going to make him a little bit more angrier. And then he's going to find creative ways of dispensing you. So he's got that head. He's got also a laughing face. That's also pretty cool, too. And we'll go through all of the gory gambit here. Plug on the laughing face. Oh man, that's so creepy. It does bring a little bit more also, because now you get a chance to see his tongue on the interior. Just a cool looking face. And then there's also this face, which again is that more determined, I suppose, of Art the Clown's expressions. We'll just yank that off and replace it with this one. There we go. The faces, by the way, once you get them all the way in there, they stay really securely. I mean, Blizzard test would really not imply this time around. But again, if you had a front face, if you shook the figure around, that face isn't going to be going anywhere. For the rest of the details on Art the Clown, clearly, I mean, he's just really a black and white image of himself. So like the one side all here is in black, the other side then being in all white, and then he's got the collar piece on the top. The collar, if you actually look at it, is a separate piece from the rest of his body. So not that you would have to really worry about changing out the heads, because again, all of it is just going to be done in the faces. If it was, though, to be case, you'd have to worry that the collar piece doesn't fall off in the process. All in all, though, he does look really good. He's got the frills on the bombs there. His gloves don't match the colors of the rest of his outfit. I mean, that's true to the movie. He's got little pom-poms there on the front. The pom-poms would be one thing I would be a little bit careful of. You don't want to run your finger. Don't be aggressive. Don't be aggressive running your finger across those pom-poms for the risk that you could pop them off. But he's got two of them. He's got two of them there. I did notice, though, just before we actually get to his big giant clown shoes, I guess there they are right there. Peg holes, by the way, on the bottoms of his feet. One thing I did notice, though, with my Art the Clown is when I bent the knee, he's got, I guess this would be a paint that's chipped off. I mean, it's worn away areas that's clearly not here in the white. So maybe they've gone and painted the black over top of the white plastic. But it does seem, though, like a little bit of paint's flaked off. You're not likely going to be having Art the Clown pose like this on your shelf. Maybe you are if you're a psychopath. but it does bother me a little bit that there's a wear mark here right around the knee. The figure's articulation. Now, that's one thing, though, that the figure kind of lets down just a little bit. I mean, again, if we kind of set the bar at Michael Myers, John Carver, those just recently, we looked at them here on the channel. Art the Clown, again, comes up a little bit short because he only has a single hinge in his elbow. So even just to have the figures bend his arm, for example, if we want to get like the garbage bag I basically just slid in between his fingers. I didn't tie back up the knot. I probably really should have. But if you want just to kind of slip the little strips of the garbage bag underneath his fingers, just kind of like that, almost. You get the idea. I mean, unfortunately, though, with the not having a double hinge on his elbow, it doesn't really look like he naturally carries the bag the way that he should. Even again, I know, just a poor job of putting that into his hand. But he doesn't have the double bend in the elbow. That's the one thing that kind of lets this figure down just a little bit. For the figures, though, posability, Art the Clown's going to have a ball joint in his head. Does it rotate all the way around? Yes, it does. It does. He does also seem to have, just underneath the collar, right there, an actual ball joint at the base of the neck. So you can move quite a bit there as well. So you get quite a lot of poses for just his head alone. The arms rotate all the way around. All the way around. Not that I necessarily need to show you guys what it did on the other side there, too. His shoulders don't come completely out at 90 degrees, just a little less than that, 45. There is a bend in the elbow, but again, not a double hinge. Oh, I really wish that they could have put a double hinge in the elbow, but sadly he only has just one. Hands rotate all the way around. If you did want to swap out the hands, let's just say, what's a good hand we want to use? Where's the A-OK hand? Could I find the A-OK? There it is right there. Everything is A-OK. We're just going to pop the hand very easily off, and then we'll just replace it. Get the new hand in there. There we go. Everything is A-OK. Everything's not A-OK. The whole torso piece essentially is a softer rubber plastic, so it does allow the torso to bend back and forth. You kind of can move it back and forth this way as well. Legs split out. They're ball joints after all. You can move the legs forward. You can move them back. No issues whatsoever there. There's a swivel there at the top of the thigh. Swivel it goes. Again, smudge mark on my knee. Again, probably just chipped away paint. Just a single hinge in the knee. I don't think it necessarily needs more than one. It does need, though, more than one hinge in the elbow. Boots, his clown shoes, move back and forth, up and down. Quite a bit of posability. And with them being the size that they are, he seems to stand perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. No issues whatsoever. Art the Clown, whether you like the Terrifier films or not, I tread cautiously. I watched the first Terrifier. Truth be told, though, I haven't really seen the other Terrifier films. I know they are a gory spectacle. He is certainly, though, a spectacle when it comes to the amount of accessories, though, that he comes included with. I think still, though, NECA really needed to come up with a better way. I mean, you may have even noticed that Art the Clown wasn't even strapped in. Didn't have to cut any twist ties at all to free this guy from his plastic prison. But I think, though, that they really need to have separate strips. With the amount of accessories and what such a high likelihood that you're going to be losing any one of those things, I really think, though, they should have had separate strips of plastic containing the accessories on each of the individual sides, not just relying on one lid. Art the Clown, again, really nice looking figure. The only one thing that kind of lets him down just a little bit is not necessarily a sculpt, but the fact he does lack a little bit when it comes to posability in his elbows. You can't even necessarily say either that NECA they're not in the business of doing double hinges in the elbows, when the fact that we just literally looked at figures that did have double hinges in the elbows, that being, of course, the Halloween H2O, Michael Myers and John Carver. They both have double hinges there. Why Art the Clown doesn't have it is beyond me. If you overlook that little oversight, it's a great looking figure to have on your shelf. When you think of all the other companies that have already handled the Terrifier properties and Art the Clown, NECA's really been the last one in line. I mean, now, really, when you look at it, like Mezco's done Art the Clown collectibles. I mean, even like Trick or Treat Studios, long before that, did a 6-scale figure of Art. NECA's only now doing Ultimate figures. They've also got a retro cloth release, and they're also planning a whole lineup of Terrifier film franchise figures. So again, like, it's cool that we're finally getting these collectibles, but I guess it was something that maybe NECA didn't want to test the waters too soon on it. What's kind of rather interesting, too, that when they did the Cult Classics days, they released a Sam long before anybody even really knew who Trick or Treat Sam was. They're actually kind of now the opposite when it comes to Art the Clown. Everybody already knows the Terrifier films and Art the Clown. Doesn't mean, though, coming up a little bit late. NECA doesn't deliver, though, a pretty cool Art the Clown. Yeah, they do. He looks the part. He's terrifying, certainly, as it is. And with all the accessories that he has and the mental mind that he does, you can only really imagine the kind of damage that he would inflict with all the weapons that he has. Now, when it comes, though, to the accessories, you get really a lot more than really what you'd end up using. The cool thing about it, though, is that all these accessories, I'm sure you probably could just use with another horror figure that you have on your shelf. A Michael Myers could really come handy with maybe using the butcher knife or the hammer, for example, or even the hatchet. But with Art the Clown, for me at least, displaying this guy on the shelf, maybe going with the hacksaw, maybe with the drill, maybe the way that you're seeing him right now, but there's certainly a lot to choose from. Still, though, on the side, I think that NECA really on the side should have had those accessories with dedicated tray lids so that you didn't have to pull off the entire lid. Even when I was pulling the lid off, I thought to myself, oh, what are the chances that this ends up happening? I pull the lid, the tape is still stuck, and all the accessories go phew, all over the floor. There's no way, though, I'd be able to find all of them, especially those tiny little scalpels. I don't mind, though, that the accessories are small and that they are included. But I do think, though, that they probably should have found a better way to package him. I don't mind that Art the Clown doesn't have twist ties to keep him down, but they should have found, though, at least a better way to keep the accessories separated from one another. What do you guys think of Art? Let me know down below in the comments section. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer that the figure doesn't have double hinges in his elbows, but I think the rest of the figure is still fine. Of course, we will be also looking at the Walmart exclusive bloody version of Art. That's going to be coming as soon as the package does arrive to my doorstep. As far as I know, it's still in transit, but it should be arriving any day now. Have you guys gotten your hands on the Art the Clown from the Terrifier? And do you actually think that NECA's done a great job on this? And have you also had the chance to pick up the Walmart exclusive? If you guys did also enjoy this video, you can do it a solid and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more? So I hope so. Hit the subscribe, turn on the bell, and come back. There's going to be more content coming your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.